August 27, ladies and gentlemen, it's 6:30 p.m. on My Media Prime Television and time for Prime News with me, Audrey Zatsa. A few days to school resumption, officials of the transport sector have joined heads together to curb road accidents that have been recorded in the country. Their accident prevention strategies are disclosed in this report signed Dolingonde.
Recently, there have been quite a good number of road accidents recorded with very deadly casualties to speak of. The road accidents which have gone as far as claiming lives, leaving many injured and vehicles to the greatest beyond repairs. The cause of the accidents are mostly attributed to bad roads, drivers' irresponsibility, recklessness and lots more. It is within this week that the national coordinator for the Cameroon's Land Freight Transporters Union, Alhaji Umaru, has organized this press conference to enlighten the public of their move together with the government to curb road accidents in the country.
Despite the obtention of the driving license, we will well organize the professional training for drivers concerning the heavy-duty trucks. We will be extended to Chadian and Central African Republic drivers. We are also working with the government in order to renew all our lorries.
As concerns rumors about the strike action to be organized in the days ahead, the representatives of the different road transporters trade unions present at the press conference debunked this information.
Nigerian police officers have arrested or apprehended a man named Ntui Lambert, suspected of being the main supplier of arms and explosives to Anglophone separatists in Cameroon. The 36-year-old man of a Nigerian mother and of a Nigerian father and a Cameroonian mother is currently under police custody in Abuja. Joy Ngong completes the story.
Lambert Ntui was arrested by Nigerian police in Cross River State along with 3 other suspects. Nigerian police officers revealed that they were in possession of weapons, ammunition and 58 dynamite intended for the manufacture of improvised explosive devices.
A total of 13 AK-47 rifles that were recovered from these suspects, 2 RPGs, 750 AK-47 live ammunition, 11 AK-47 magazines, 30 live cartridges, 58 wraps of explosives suspected to be dynamites, 1 Turaya handset, 157 new MTN SIM cards being used by some of the cyber criminals, and other incriminating items that were recovered from these suspects.
According to the Nigerian police, Lambert Ntui is working closely with Cameroonian secessionists.
Was arrested by police operatives from this unit somewhere in Ikom in Cross River State while trying to smuggle or traffic these explosives to Cameroon. He's believed to be working with some secessionist group in Cameroon. This is not his first time of supplying them with dynamites and other arms-related items.
Admitting to the accusations, Lambert added that this is not his first time to provide war material to these armed groups.
My name is Lambert Hassan. I'm from Cross River State in the Kmer local government. I was arrested in possession of dynamic explosive and live ammunition of AK-47 with a rifle. I was arrested in my house in Afrique by the IGP police officers.
This arrest comes during a period characterized by the upsurge in attacks perpetrated by Ambazonian fighters in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. It equally coincides with the 8th session of the Security Committee between Nigeria and Cameroon, devoted to threats to security of persons and property and the fight against terrorism in the 2 countries. According to United Nations report, at least 4,000 civilians have been killed in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon, with over 700,000 displaced since the Anglophone crisis switched to an armed conflict in 2017.
Campaigns ahead of the renewal of the basic organs of the ruling CPDM party in America have begun. Former separatist fighter Dr. Nicolas Ngu Santos is amongst the candidates running for the post of CPDM section president in America. Lasha Kingsley tells us more.
In line with the renewal of CPDM basic organ executives abroad, campaigns have kick-started in sections of the United States of America and Canada. Filing in for the position of president for the U.S. is Dr. Nicolas Ngu Santos, who previously isolated himself from the separatist or better still, restorationist of former British Southern Cameroons, now known to them as Ambazonia Republic.
I abandoned the Ambazonia Sako leadership long ago. Proof of that is a video when I resigned from the so-called internet government, wherein I was castigated because they picked up arms against a nation state. And I resigned from there because I saw or I foresaw no pathway to victory, and so refused their decision.
Revealing why he quit the separatist activities, Dr. Nicolas Ngu admitted to have participated at the major national dialogue from September 30th to October 4, 2019 to negotiate for peace with the Cameroonian government. His move only earned him severe backlash from his former pro-independence colleagues.
I formed the Peace Task Force Initiative, but those who were still living in some delirium of independence continued to make their harvest, dishing out insults instead of jumping on board with your humble servant to seek a pathway to peace and national unity. Take note that I insisted in delivering my prophecy that there will be no independence. I went ahead to pursue the path of mediation, negotiation, and dialogue amongst the groups, and for them to better organize themselves to go and address these questions with the nation state of Cameroon.
The section presidential candidate sees his return to the CPDM political party as a means to tackle the Anglophone crisis directly with the stakeholders.
Having seen all the destruction, the bloodshed on the ground, I have decided to take a gigantic decision to return to my party where I have been member since 1994. I'm returning to the CPDM not only as a member, but as a runner for the section president in USA. The reason for taking this bold step is because I believe that having had a voice from the outside that was refused to be heard of, I am going in to pass the message to the powers that be so that they can try to see how they can solve the problem and end the bloodshed on the ground.
Nicolas Ngu believes that every Cameroonian has the right to belong to a political party at any given time. With two other opponents running for the same position, his main objective as section president, if eventually elected, is to end the crisis in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon.
Over to the Northwest region, where 15 out of 25 projects have been realized in the domain of education, health and infrastructure despite the socio-political crisis. This was disclosed during the 2021 midterms evaluation account session for the Bamenda 2 Council, a meeting presided over by the Mayor of Bamenda 2 Council, Peter Chenwi. Charles Kebwa reports from Bamenda.
The 2021 midterm evaluation account session for the Bamenda 2 Council took place August 25th to evaluate the execution of contract for 2021 in the presence of the supervisory authority, Mezam SDO Simo Emil Mo, who urged the 2019 law on public contract on section 74, 75, 76 and 77 be fully implemented. Also addressed the council's worry on revenue collection, which often leads to misunderstanding amongst the councils.
The people are ready and they're willing to pay their taxes. Honestly, from the few collection, there's good faith in paying the taxes, but then, you know, the change of mindset from this session is some are a little bit delayed, and the daily collectors and the tax collectors from the councils, they can't gain access to certain areas because of challenges. But so far, so good. I think there's a bit of improvement as compared to last year.
The SGO noted a committee has been put in place to see into the effective collection and distribution of revenue amongst the councils in the city of Bamenda. Call on the councillors to be agents in their various constituencies in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, which is in a second wave. Bamenda 2 Council Mayor Chenny Peter, presenting his actions during the midterm evaluation meeting of the council, said the socio-political crisis has been a stumbling block for the effective execution of some projects and access to tax collection within his municipality.
What we're going through is a tax. Most of these guys have been unfit to execute their job, but they've been threatened and attacked. So at times, for us to realize you have to use intervention to assist. But I want to thank God that I think about 70% of my job so far, following the evaluation, has been executed.
The Bamenda 2 Council with projects realized in the domain of education, health, infrastructure amongst the Mulang and Tambang community halls.
So far, I think I have a list. We have what have been maintained. You have this 27 million funds from public contract, what maintenance that have maintained towards just in the top, Cameroun, and we have constructed the Women Empowerment Center that was planned last year by the secessionists. We have renovated 2 classrooms at Batu and Songwa in Mankon, and for the moment we are constructing 2 community halls, one in Mulang and another one in Old Town.
The council looks forward rehabilitating some roads, provide potable water, stop boreholes and solar street light in some neighborhoods in the municipality.
Onto something else, a human interest story. A girl whose name we got as Karine is reported to have been beaten almost to death by her boyfriend, identified as Masanji, who lives in Cité de la Paix in Douala. According to reports, the said boyfriend is notorious for torturing his girlfriend using objects like sticks and barbed wire whenever they have any misunderstanding. But Karine, his girlfriend, has always condemned his actions, hoping that he will change. But the situation turned worse, according to her, as she was tortured once more to an extent where she almost lost her life. With the proliferation of mass media in the world and in Cameroon in particular, student journalist on internship Naivona was on the streets or in the streets of Douala to find out from Cameroonians what their media preferences are. Her report.
With the evolution of technology, coupled with the outburst of social media networks, the population has been left with difficult choices to make when it comes to getting credible information. Questions of whether people uphold the traditional media or the social media as an authentic source of information has left many debating, given the role both play in the dissemination of information. According to some city dwellers in Cameroon's economic capital Douala, information gotten from the traditional media is professional, factual and authentic.
As a person, I think I prefer the traditional media, as opposed to social media. So where I go for TV news, especially in the morning, maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock news on the different major TV stations, my media prime, CRTV, and all of that. And as well, I prefer newspapers too, which is a form of traditional media as well. So when I get anything on social media that I've not heard on media, I take it with a pinch of salt. And each time I get any information on social media, I go to double check with traditional media. If it's not being reported in traditional media, I hardly take it for what it is.
If you want to tell somebody what has happened, I believe with the traditional system of information, it will be more realistic than the social media platform, because we've noticed that the social media platform is a platform wherein people manipulate upon others on the internet, and there are many of us who are not versed with the internet, and since we are not versed with it, we can be duped in one way or the other. But with this one, it is something that goes viral and people are able to see what's happening, and they can locate the area where it is happening than the social media.
unlike many, other schools of thought prefer the social media on the basis of its availability on mobile gadgets.
I prefer social media because it's just like rapid. You have the phone in hand and you can easily have all the information. Technology have just like eased everything for us to have all the information using our phones, and to be sure that the information are from just like true sources. You have official pages on the social media, so you can just like go on official pages and have your information.
I prefer social media. I like it. I'm not sure of all the information that I receive from the social media, but when I'll receive some information, I'll go and ask another person.
With the growing culture of images, videos, and information sharing on the traditional and social media, many are of the opinion that there is need for synergy between social networks and the traditional media to create a cohesive platform to better the experience of information sharing.
On towards making news in Africa, Noraka KB reports, beginning with neighboring country, Nigeria.
In Nigeria, some students who were seized in a school in Segina, Niger State by heavily armed gunmen have been freed. According to the head teacher of the school, he is not sure of the exact number of students freed, but he is certain that none is still under captivity. He said the freed students looked unhealthy, frail and exhausted, but are receiving medical care. It should be noted that last month, both the school and parents raised funds to free the pupils, but the kidnappers told them it was not enough. According to the head teacher, the money was added and motorcycles were equally bought for them to convince them to release the children. More than 1,000 students have been abducted from schools across northern Nigeria since December 2020, although most have since been freed. Meanwhile, in Mali, 79-year-old ex-Prime Minister Soumeilou Maïga has been placed under arrest by Mali Supreme Court. He is suspected of fraud, forgery, and use of favoritism. The former head of government arrived in the Bamako prison yesterday afternoon. The ex-Prime Minister is reputed to have an important network in Malian and regional security circles. And in South Africa, former President Jacob Zuma's foundation appealed for public donations to assist him cover his legal costs. Zuma, who is currently facing a number of legal challenges, was dealt a heavy blow when the Supreme Court of Appeal ruled that he should pay the legal fees for his arms deal corruption trial from his pocket instead of the government footing the legal bill. The foundation requested those willing to make donations to make deposits into a Capitec bank account.
And worldwide, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has condemned the terrorist attack at the Kabul airport, which killed and injured a number of civilians. Speaking yesterday, he emphasized on the UN's availability to deliver urgent assistance to the Afghan people. This and other news stories or other world stories are compiled in this report, signed Bokengo Wadi.
The recent Taliban takeover of the Afghanistan presidency after the U.S. troops were withdrawn from the country has left many questioning if these troops should have stayed a little bit longer. With an estimated 13 U.S. military personnel killed in recent blast attack at the Kabul airport and taking the life of at least 95 Afghans, leaving 65 children injured as a result of the bombing, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has condemned this act.
First of all, I'd like to express in the strongest possible way my total condemnation about the horrific terrorist attack in Kabul. To send my condolences to the families of all those that perished, Afghans, and those that were helping there, the Afghans, and died serving the lives of others.
Meanwhile, in Haiti, data from World Food Program shows 4.4 million Haitians are in immediate need of food assistance, with an estimated 1.5 people classified as emergency situations. It should be recalled that in recent time, the country has experienced periods of violent demonstration, roadblocks, fuel shortage, droughts, economic paralysis, high inflation rates, earthquakes, among others. While this was before the pandemic, the impact of global economic slowdown, interruption in trade, closing of borders have been devastating for an island country that depends heavily on imports with the outbreak of the pandemic. In line with COVID-19 pandemic, researchers examined data on 29 million individuals in the United Kingdom following fears over rare cases of blood clot conditions and stroke after receiving first doses of AstraZeneca or Pfizer. This is said to lead to hospitalization or death shortly after first doses. It is estimated that these doses could lead to hospitalization or death shortly after first shots. The study estimates 143 excess cases of stroke per 10 million born from Pfizer vaccine and 107 blood clotting platelets per 10 million born from AstraZeneca. It should be borne in mind that the country has recorded 6.6 million confirmed cases and 132,000 deaths. Worthy of note is the fact that 215 million cases and 4.4 million deaths are world statistics for COVID-19.
To the end of today's edition and the last for the week. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your keen attention. The news was produced by Ewane Eli Nolinga, coordinated by Faith Tata. Kumyonad and his panelists will be yours shortly for Prime Hour. Meanwhile, stay blessed and have a wonderful weekend. Bye.